All right. This is part two of the video that I had uploaded before. The biggest mistake I ever made when pursuing my dream. Okay, it's a true story that actually happened, whereby um, I gave up a comfortable job with a guaranteed salary, not much pressure to pursue my dream. And that in turn led to a series of mistakes. I'll put the link for the previous video. Watch that, it'll make a lot more sense. The reason why I'm sharing the part two is, one is because you guys, many of you posted the comment, how did you go through the phase when you didn't have, no job, no money, uh, no friends. It is a tough time. It is a very, very tough time in your life, and it taxes you mentally, emotionally, like, some people say spiritually. So I thought I would share with you this part two. uh, in order for it to be effective, I had to really, get into that feel. I really had to sit and think, how did I feel, what did I go through. So what you do is watch this video when you're driving or you're doing something which is not simple. Maybe cooking, maybe cleaning, maybe in the gym. In the gym, it'll be depressing because you're doing heavy. But listen to it when you're doing something else, because there's nothing to see, there's no graphics. It's just me telling you a very real story. Okay. And my purpose of sharing this with you is to inspire you, motivate you, that if you're going through a tough time, or to mentally prepare you that this can happen. So, continuing from video 8701, okay, the biggest mistake I made when pursuing my dream. So now I don't have a job. The job that was promised to me is also not there. I've already made or taken the steps of shifting all my furniture. You know these bookshelves. You have no idea how difficult it is to pack all these books, put them into boxes, stack all the cupboards. It is not like, if I didn't have them, if I just had a couple of clothes, okay, you can put in a suitcase and shift your house. But when I have to shift a house, you're talking of, it's like I'm doing it for a family of like 6 7 people. There are so many things, man. And for me, the so many things are books. Half the I have to literally rent out a van or a truck, small truck, just for my books, and they are very heavy. So I get charged a lot of money. So now here I have all these books, I have all my stuff. I've already gone like 50, 60 kilometers to a new location where I was supposed to take a house. But now that guy who promised me the job is also said no. We didn't give you anything in writing. And now I'm stranded. I have 2 truckloads of my stuff, which is waiting to be kept in a new house. And the house I don't have because I don't have a job. So signing a contract doesn't make sense. So I did what most of us would do. I reached out and asked people for help. I knew a few people who had staying in that area, and there was this guy. I'll just call him Mr. C. Okay, Mr. C. And I asked him, man, can you help me? He was from India. So him, his wife, they were big fans of my work. Like, they were big fans of my public speaking skills, training skills, uh, and we knew each other for 1 2 years. He was a nice guy. Okay, there's nothing wrong with him. But pay attention to the story, because this nice guy becomes not so nice after some time. So I he called me to stay in his house, and he said, you can keep all the your stuff, furniture, fittings, the books, keep it in the warehouse of our building. The watchman will give you, and we will go together to find a new house. That was the game plan, as I was going to sign the contract. But now, when the contract is cancelled, the job is cancelled. Now I'm stuck with the books in the warehouse of that building, which you can't keep forever. I have no place to stay, so I'm stuck in his house. And obviously, I have salary that is enough savings for maybe 1 month, 2 month, max 3 months, not more than that. That's another thing you've got to be very careful where savings is concerned. So the minute or the second I came to know that I made a mistake, my communication error, there's no job, they didn't give me anything in writing. Immediately, obviously, I had to tell him. And I'll tell you, it was more like, lightning struck me. My spirit went out of my body. I was just, I became like a zombie. And in UAE, those days, if we are talking about 15, 18 years ago, if you didn't have a job, they'll kick you out of the country. So I was sitting there just on the sofa and just looking up like this. And he came and asked me, hey, what happened? Everything fine? I told him, see, this is the case. And so obviously, he's not going to tell me, get out of the house. Or he's like, don't worry, I'm there. You can stay here. He had a daughter, 1 bedroom house. I could sleep in the hall room. But honestly, I was not comfortable, because I wanted to be an independent guy. And if you know my story or you know my history, I was never close to my parents. I was never close to my relatives. So I couldn't go to their house or I couldn't talk to them. I was not close to any one of them. So here I am at the mercy of one guy. I'm staying in his house. My stuff is in his warehouse. So then I really didn't know what to do. Your mind is just bloody blank. Yeah. It's like you put all your eggs in one basket and this was the job. Getting a job is not easy. Like how, wherever you are, whichever country or whichever part of the world you are, getting a job is not easy. It's not like someone tells you, oh, okay, you don't have a job. Okay, here, I got a job. No. I wanted a job which was at a particular level, a particular salary, a particular skill. I didn't just want any job. And my skills were sales, marketing. My skills were training. My skills were, maybe events. I literally made a list of all my skills. What do I have? Okay, I have all these skills. So after making a list of all the skills, okay, now who do I go and ask for a job? Because if I were to apply going through newspapers, those days newspapers were a thing. I'm competing with 1,000, 2,000 or 4,000 CVs, emails which will be spammed. And I knew for a fact, if I were to apply for jobs where other people are applying, it's like a lottery ticket. You take a lottery ticket and hoping you get a number and get some cash. So for me, the only way to get a job was to call people who I knew and ask them, do you know somebody else? Or do you know anybody who has a job? Or can I speak to somebody who I can offer my services? And I'll tell you, that is, when you go through that phase, you'll come to realize not just who your friends are. People don't like when you ask them favors. People don't like when you approach them for help. Okay, little money here and there, fine. Even money, I'll tell you, money also is a very painful thing. But some of the contacts I had, they didn't mind giving me a little bit of money, but I didn't want the money. I wanted a job. And the usual stuff. Okay, Loy, send me a CV. I'll see what I can do. I knew all those techniques. I knew all those answers. I knew for a fact, if I would tell him, can I send my CV? They'll say, yeah, send it, Loy. Let me see what I can do. You think he's going to sit down and figure, oh, Loy doesn't have a job. Guys, what do we do? He'll call his wife. He'll call his children, brother, sister. Hey, what do we do? No. They'll just say, send me a CV. It goes into their inbox. They'll continue. They'll watch a football match, cricket match. They'll think, oh, I have to pay my electricity, water bill. Tomorrow I have to go there. Oh, I have to go for a picnic. I have to go for a holiday. Or, hey, guys, we have to go watch a movie. People have their lives, yeah. They don't give a rat's ass about your problems. And here I was sitting there wondering what to do. I knew for a fact, I'm not going to, and I decided I was not going to tell people, can I send you my CV? Because it was useless. I was not even going to get there. And even when people said, send me your CV, I was mentally prepared because I was not a kid or I was not a first timer in getting jobs. I literally used to help people get jobs. So I was very specific when I called them. I told them the situation. I said, can I take, a few minutes of your time? They said, yeah, Roy, go ahead. And then I told them, see, listen, I'm without a job at the moment. Okay. I'm looking out for a job. Um, do you know anybody who would benefit from my experience of having sales and marketing? Okay. And if you know somebody, I'm not going to harass them. I'm not going to give them, calls after calls. I will just tell them, give them your reference and just talk to them and ask them. Not even send my CV. Ask them, do you need somebody of my skills? If they say no, fine. That's it. So it was very specific. And when you get down to being specific and ask people, do you know somebody who needs my skill, who would benefit from this? And I'm not going to send them an email. I'll just ask them. There also you'll come to know how much people value. There are people who are like, Loy, I can't give you his contact details. I will speak to him on your behalf. And there you realize, oh, okay, he doesn't think I'm good enough to talk to him. Or, he doesn't trust me enough to talk to him. Or he's not comfortable me talking to him. Which I don't blame them. There are some people who just don't want to give their contacts to you. And some others are just worried, oh, what if he misbehaves with them? So here I was left in a way that, because remember, if I don't have a job, the tone by which I will speak, the way in which I will sell myself is different from one random guy just saying, this guy's looking for a job. Do you have anything? And I don't think he's going to call anyone. He's not bothered here. Honestly, this is a fact. Nobody gives a fuck about your problems. And I don't blame anyone for it. I'm not saying they are the bad guys. It's my problem. So after thinking what to do, looking at my phone, checking the numbers, figuring out who to call, very soon you'll run out of options. And very soon I was like, now what the fuck do I do? Now, obviously, first things first, I can't stay in his house. So I started to make calls and asked who could accommodate me. I was left out of, here's the funny thing. On your phone, you might have 1,000 contacts, Facebook, 5,000 contacts. But when you really need help and when you look at them, you will end up with maybe just one or maybe zero. The same thing happened to me. Thousands of people, contacts, friends, but help I can ask only one. I can't call up a rich guy and say, hey, can I come to your house or can you provide me accommodation and food? Can't do that here. So I had only two out of maybe 5,000 contacts who I could call. One was a student of mine, not a young girl or anything. She was a woman in her 30s who was a model, very successful. And another one was a guy, kind of a businessman, same like the house where I was staying. But it was a long shot. Now, why did I want to move away from this guy's house is because he had a 1-bedroom. And it was a very small house and it was uncomfortable. I could make out, he could make out. Okay. So my best bet was the model. The first one was the model because she stayed in a spacious apartment and she had one extra bedroom. So I called her up and I told her, can we meet up? I just want to talk to you. She said, fine. She used to call me coach. Coach, no problem. Come down. When I went, I met her and I told her about this. And at first she was very welcoming. She was like totally fine. Okay. Now here's the part where it gets complicated. Like they say, life is unexpected. Now I'm a hard-nosed coach. I'm a coach who's tough love. I'm always tough and rough with my students. That's how they are. So as we were sitting down, she said, why don't we have a session? I'll pay you for it. So now that I don't have a job, I used to do this at the side. I was like, okay, I don't mind getting paid for a session. I said, what do you want to focus on? She said, let's have a public speaking and, voice modulation and, body language, all that. Fine. Okay. Because of my years of experience, I said, fine. Because she had a gig coming up. As usual, we went through the coaching session. Now, I don't know whether it was my mood or whether that day I was slightly stressed. As I was critiquing her, like, this is not the way, come on. Yeah, I want you to raise your voice. And, I was taking the role of being a coach. I was not going to play the role of being a victim and papa and say, oh, I don't have a job. So no, I took it like a coach. She suddenly, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, she snapped because I was criticizing her that I'm not happy with your voice. Do it again. Do it again. Yeah. And she's like, Loy, she's like, coach, just shut up, coach. I don't like this. And she suddenly exploded. And I was like, okay. Because she used to explode, but it was not very frequent. Like out of 10 sessions or 20 sessions, maybe once she would explode or cry or feel upset. And this was not the right time for her to explode. But sadly, she exploded. And then she told me, coach, I don't like this, stop it, what the fuck is this? And I was like, okay. As it is, I'm going through enough shit. I don't need more complications. I was like, okay, fine. Just let's relax. We don't need to, go through it. I was trying to diffuse the situation because I had enough on my head. She also kept quiet. It was very awkward because I was at her place. Normally, she is at my place. So we kept quiet. And then she said, coach, please just leave me alone. It was kind of embarrassing for me because she asked me to leave her house. Okay. I said, okay, fine. And remember, she has already agreed for me to stay in that extra bedroom that she has, which I will pay her a sum of money. It's not for free. So I said, okay, fine. I'll leave you alone. And then obviously I have to leave that guy's house, right? Because, deadline. So I knew that calling her was a bad idea. So I just sent her a text. I said, sorry about what happened, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to that person's house. Tomorrow I'll be taking the stuff and I'll be shifting. Okay, as per our agreement. She didn't respond. She read the message. Fine. She didn't respond. Okay, fine. Next day, obviously, I checked my phone and she said, okay. There was just okay. There was nothing much more than that. And then, I was getting ready. Okay, now it's time to leave this house. So I called the movers, the people who do the shifting. Remember, every time I book these guys, I have to pay them money. So they bought their people who do the labor work. I thought even I would do to cut down the cost because they charge per person. So we got everything up on the trucks and I was helping them and getting ready to leave. It took me from morning all the way to afternoon to load the trucks, everything. And then I informed her, okay, I'm on the way now. I'm coming on the way. I'm going to come to your place. Okay. We are driving down. Now it's the evening, from morning to evening, because it's a lot of stuff to fill and a lot of stuff to move and traffic and all that. And now we are coming to her place. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not faking this. I reached her building. Okay, it's a premier location. I reached her building and I said, I'm down. I'm down. Now we'll be coming up. She sends me a text and says, coach, I'm sorry, but you're not welcome. Or something in line. Sorry, coach, but I'm not comfortable. Or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I'm sitting with that guy, because I didn't have a car. I'm sitting with that guy in his pickup truck, and I'm telling him that I'm going to send a message to go up so we can start offloading. And there she sends, I'm not comfortable, or I'm sorry. And then she said, I'm sorry, coach, I'm not comfortable. Please, you're not welcome at my place. I was like, what? When you're going through shit, it's like all the shit in the world comes all together at once. And I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, she's telling me I'm sorry, you're not welcome. Bye. Now, where the fuck do I go? I mean, you could have told me this yesterday. You could have told me this even in the morning. Now, I booked a guy As it is, I'm not earning money, and I booked a guy, I paid for an extra, I paid for the truck, I paid for shifting. I've even left the house that I was staying there. I could have stayed for another week. And now I don't have that house because I told him I'm going. I've come to this female's place, and now she's saying bye bye. And now I had no other choice but to call. Uh, I didn't want to go back to that guy. I called another guy. And here's the funny thing: this guy is rich. He has an extra house. He used to always tell me, "Loy, when you're free, come down, this and that." And now when I explained to him the predicament that I was in, he also backs out. All this while, when I didn't need him, he had offered me his house. He had offered me everything. Now when I needed him, now he has also backed out. It, it's just one after another, and he's not a bad guy. But he told me, Loy, I'm sorry, man. We have different other plans. Before I had that place, now it's not available. I'm sorry. Now I can't go to this female's house. I can't go to this friend's house. Out of all the embarrassments in my life, I had to call up the same guy and tell him what happened. He was as shocked as me. He himself didn't know what the hell to say. He just told me, okay, Loy, come back. I mean, he didn't sound happy at all. I can tell you this much. He didn't sound happy at all. He was not at all happy to have me come back. And so, all the way we went, almost, I think, after like nearly midnight, offloaded everything. By the time it was way past midnight, and this guy had to go to work, and he just told me, like he looked at me. His wife was sleeping, his kid was sleeping, and he was like, "Oh, Loy, you can just sleep there." I could clearly see on his face that he is regretting that he got me, that he offered me help. I'll tell you, that is such a shitty feeling, man. Such a shitty feeling that it's like you're not wanted. And, people are they're just tolerating you. In fact, he just, Loy, just help yourself with whatever you want from the fridge. I didn't even want to eat, man. I had to end up paying that guy and all that. And I just sat down. Oh, it was such a long night. I just sat down looking at the window outside, just wondering what the fuck is going on with my life here. What the fuck is going on? One after another, after another, after another. I couldn't sleep. I really couldn't sleep. My head was not working. Here, I can't sleep in the night. I don't know who to call. And here is a family man whom I shouldn't be troubling him. But where do I go? So I hardly slept. Finally managed to get some sleep. Then I woke up in the morning when I heard noise. I was lying down and they were anyway getting ready to go to work and all that. And I got up and I just sat, they had put a mattress where I was sleeping down, It was okay. I just got up, I sat down, and they were kind. I'm sure the husband and wife had a talk. They said, Lloyd, don't need to worry. You can just be here. We'll go to work. Just keep me updated. I knew for a fact that he was not comfortable. I knew the wife was not comfortable. I mean, it's their family. Oh, I sat down again, not knowing what to do. Looked at the papers, checked social media, checked people, called. It was getting bad. It was getting embarrassing. It was one of those moments in life where you just want it to end. You want this to end. You just want a silver lining. Finally, I wish I could tell you that next day, some good news. This went on for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. Even the appointments that I would get, I would go outside, go meet people, give my CV, check with them, talk to them. And I was getting uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, and I could make out they themselves were fed up. I really did my best to eat as less as possible. I didn't want to trouble them. And lucky for me, he didn't ask me to get out. But I couldn't face him. I couldn't face him. Well, Until one day, he said those dreaded words, which I guess I knew deep down he would say it. He asked me, Loy, how long are we going to continue like this? Ah, when he said that, no, I whatever iota of self-respect I had was gone. I just kept quiet. I just told him, I'm sorry. Just give me 2, 3 more days. I'll figure out something, and I'll not bother you anymore. I will leave. I was very embarrassed here. I mean, very embarrassed because here he is being kind to me, but I'm being shameless. Like what I can do. Finally, I just altogether stopped being there. I didn't want any of them to see me. I would just come, wanting to come late night. I have to use the toilet, have bath, and all that. Towel. It's uncomfortable for everyone. And I remember, going down to check where all I can stay and all that. And that is where I'll tell you one of powerful, the most powerful experiences ever happened. It was the most powerful incident. If I were to make a movie on what I'm going to share with you next, people would say this happens only in movies. It actually happened. But I'll not share it now. And I know you must say, hey, come on, man, share it. That in itself will take 30 minutes. It's a moment in my life which I've never forgotten. I'll be also sharing photographs with you. But that moment, which I will share with you in the next video, changed, was the point where everything changed. My life changed forever. Okay. Why I'm not sharing? I'll be honest. One is I want to relive that moment. It's a very powerful moment. Some of you might end up maybe crying if you listen to it, because I would get very emotional when I think about it. And it brought me down to being the most vulnerable I ever was in my life. Apart from my suicide video that I have online, this was, I would say, the second most powerful. Second most powerful. Because by that time, I had less and less money, hardly any money left. I was afraid to spend. I would go walking without a cab. I was literally on the streets here. And I had to move out. Anyway, if you watched the video until now, my only request to you, this is the only thing I ask of you, is just mention that you are interested to listen to. Hopefully, it'll be the final chapter of this particular phase. Just say that you're interested. Just give me a clue that I've watched the whole video until now. I'm interested to know about part 3. And I'll share it with you. But I need to really soak it in because it's a very powerful moment. And I don't want to end up, being emotional. But I'll tell you, it was a game changer. One thing I want to conclude before I end this video, I want to say is, when you go through shit in your life now, it's it's a very odd situation. It's very strange because it's like everything collapses one after another. It's like this failed, that failed, this went to the dogs, that went to the dogs, this is not working, that isn't. It's like everything that had to go wrong will go wrong. All of it. And then you'll be like, what the fuck? Like, did all of it have to collapse now only? All of it had to fail? But anyway, part 3 is the part that was a game changer. And that would be the climax of the story. So Let me know in the comments below. Did you watch the video until now? Did it add any value? Did you go through the same pain, confusion, frustration that I went through? I'm pretty sure you must have. And yes, are you interested to know about part 3? Because if you are, trust me, I will share it with you. The part 3 is the game changer, man. See, my hairs are standing up. All right. Take care, guys. Do comment. That's how we communicate with each other. Chalo, yalla, bye.